G'day YouTube, my name's Lance and welcome to Bundy Bear's Shed. Well, the weather report, well, it's been bloody terrible. As in, just hard to get stuff done. Mainly because of the wind coming through the shed here, and it rattles the doors. I've actually got wooden wedges that I jam in all the doors to stop them rattling in the tracks and all that for filming. But they weren't just cutting it yesterday. But the temperature last night was 20 degrees C, and looks like we're going to be about 30 today. The trouble with yesterday, I hopped up early yesterday morning and we came up the shed and did a bit of filming, and we've got the multi-power control valve, that's all done. The main pack, I got some parts through the week, and the main pack, I'd worked out that with the main pack, I had a look at it, it wasn't too bad. I thought, oh look, that's going to run fine, I'll just run with it. But then I went to work and I had a look and I looked at the parts and I thought, oh, don't be just a tight ass, Lance, just go and put a set of new plates in and bloody be done with it. There was a little bit of wear on, not a lot, they were serviceable, but I have just put new plates and new hook ring in for that. I have got the hook rings here for the main shafts, and hopefully when I've done the stew I'm going to hop in here and assemble this multi-power and well, look, just assemble the clutch pack, the oil gallery, so we can assemble all this. We can air test, we can put air through here. It goes through the sealing rings, and it goes through the sealing rings on the other shaft into the clutch pack, and we can just check that we've done it right, there's no leaks, everything's working how it should do. So I'm hoping to get in. I was going to film that yesterday afternoon, but the breeze, look, we had 50 km/h winds and the shed was shaking. Buddy, it's just, you get a vibration in the place, and even though I have the wooden wedges for the doors to stop them rattling, there was just other things, like up on the pallet racking I've got a box with a bit of plastic wrap, well that was flapping and things like that, so we couldn't actually get any filming done yesterday because of well, yesterday afternoon anyway, because of the wind. But I had my mate Paulie, the old Malteser, Maltese bloody chick magnet we call him. And, he's got a Chamberlain 9G tractor, and look, just go to Google Images and have a look for a 9G. They're an Australian made tractor. They got a 4270 Perkins engine in them, and they were more a broad acre tractor than anything, from back in the 60s. So the reason everyone plays with those fellas is that they have a really good road speed for doing tractor trekking and running around, and pardon me, straight out of the box, with nothing done at all, they'll do 48 to 50 kilometres an hour. The 306 Chamberlains that had a Perkins 306 in them, and then later the C670s and the C6100s that had a 6354 Perkins in them. In our area, the sugarcane blokes used them. Pardon me. The sugarcane blokes used them, and they had the trailers on the back with the roll-on, roll-off cane bins, and I think they were 5 or 6 ton, 5 ton bins earlier than 6 ton, I think. But I may be wrong there, but I know they're 6 ton bins. And they'd roll 1 or 2 bins onto the back of these chambers. Usually, in the early days there was one, and off they'd go down the road, and so they'd harvest the sugar cane in the paddock, and they'd come under the elevator. And for years over, it'd be sort of like a forage harvester setup. You know how you have you have your harvester and you have your bin goes along. Well, the sugar cane fellas, yeah, they'd have an empty bin on the back, and they'd come along next to the harvester, and the harvester would fill the bins, and they'd hit it. And they'd have to head down the road, and look, it might be half a kilometre, and some runs, the long runs, might be 15 kilometres, 20 kilometres. The shorter the better. And those blokes, yeah, they wanted speed on the road. So, and we were just chatting about it yesterday, and it wasn't uncommon to have those tractors doing 60 to 70 kilometres an hour, and there was a couple of fellas over North Bundaberg had theirs hotted up a bit and they could do 80. and that's gone into folklore around the area about these old chambies doing 80 kilometres an hour. But the thing with them is the brakes were shit. Yeah, the brakes were bloody terrible. And I used to work on the brakes, and look, now and then you'd get a good one, you could get it all just smick. And other times that was, if they didn't have trailer brakes, you wouldn't stop. Just how it was. But yeah, so Paul's got a 9G he's doing up. He's doing it up as a rat rod, and it's a bloody unit by the look of it. And anyway, he's got a couple of spare gearboxes, and we're going to run through his gearbox just to make sure it's right. The one in his tractor jumps out of reverse, and he bought another parts tractor sort of thing. Then he's got another few bits and pieces that came with it. So he came in yesterday and with an old gearbox on the back of his ute. And look, the main idea was just to come and make a bracket for our transmission stand. And when I got the Multipayer off in a few weeks' time, he's got other irons in the fire at the moment. So the idea was to make a stand and I'll make a bracket to fit our turning stand, and I had a couple of discs and that, so I supplied the steel. He's gone home and drilled some holes, and he sent me a little photo of it last night on Messenger, and look, it's going to be good. I've got a couple of holes to drill. He's drilled the plate to fit the gearbox. I've got a couple of holes to drill to fit my stand. So, and in the back of the ute yesterday we were having a look, and because it's a road run only tractor, it's like my Multipayer. I've taken the hitch off, the 3-point linkage off. I don't need it. It's extra weight. I don't need to carry. I can use that to cart fuel or whatever for remote trekking. And so he's making his lighter, and the PDO that comes out the back, we worked out yesterday how to bypass that. And well, why not bypass it? Just take the whole bloody lot out. So so that'll make a quieter gearbox. The less rubbish you got flinging around in there, the better. So he's taken the gearbox home. He's made the bracket. We've got the plan worked out on what to do and how we're going to do it with his new gearbox. So the idea is to bring it over here. I'm going to get one of his old boxes off him. We're going to strip it and take note of all the bearings. And I'm actually going to write them in a parts book or something, so we've got a reference, because back in the day I used to have a parts book with the bearing numbers written there. You know, the Chamberlain part numbers often start with CHAM, and the part numbers, say it was CHAM 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, I'd have bearing 628 or 6307 or something like that. So when we got flooded in 2015, all that got washed down the river. So I haven't had it since, but I've never had to. I never had the opportunity to do a gearbox up again either. So we're going to take that opportunity to run through his box, make sure it's good, with new bearings and new seals, probably a clutch plate and things like that. So that's coming up on Bundy Bear Shed. We'll just do a Chamby 9G gearbox, but we'll go through what we're doing to make it a trekking box, so we can take all the unnecessary bullshit out. And it's just going to be, they're just a 3-speed box, about as simple as you can get. They have ball races in them. There's no bloody end floats to work out around. Look, they don't get much easier than the Chamby box. So anyway, we worked out the plan yesterday morning to do that. So we're going to hop in there, and then he lives over North Bundaberg. Now, the South Bundaberg, or the main city's on the south of the river. Then North Bundaberg is obviously north of the river, and he lives out Sharon Way. And yeah, they had fires out there yesterday. The bushfires are getting closer. Between the Sunshine Coast, Brisbane, if you look at Brisbane and the Sunshine Coast, they had wild storms through there yesterday with hail and rain and all that, so their fires are good now. Through the week, Woodgate, which is where we go camping sometimes in Kinkuna, the fires have been very bad there. And yeah, they were fighting them for 4 days, trying to get on top of it. And I haven't heard any warnings this morning, so I suppose they're under control. Yet yesterday afternoon over North Bundaberg, where Malteser lives, around that area roughly, yeah, they had fires over there. And yeah, I gave up filming, and we actually had, with the river just over here, we had the water bombers and the helicopters and all that. They were buzzing around and buzzing overhead, and it was quite hectic. Yeah, I sat back in my chair to have a look at Facebook for a minute, and yeah, you got the choppers going past with the big bags of water underneath, and they drop him down into the river and get a load of water, then head back and dump it on the fire. And they had, well, yesterday I saw one helicopter and a little like a crop duster aeroplane. It's a little fixed wing thing with floats on it, and they just hook on and scoot along the water, the top of the water, and they fill up their tank and off they go again. They don't stop, and round they go. So yeah, it was all happening yesterday, and I couldn't film for all those reasons. So I thought, oh well, I'll be meaning to do a bit of a fire break. We've got bush straight behind Bundy Bear's shed, and there's a lot of leaf litter and stuff in there, and you know, we can't deal with it really. And so I put the blade on the back of the John Deere, the 2030, and I've done a couple of rough fire breaks. I need, where the bush is at the back here, I actually need to make that wider. It's only one vehicle wide at the moment, so I need to get in a bit wider there. I've only got the back blade at the moment. The front end loader on this 1640 over here, well, that'll probably be alright to run a nice line through, but I knocked a few bits and pieces down, but I've got a bit of a fire break in there now, so we've got a line to work on. I've left the blade on the tractor, so if we think there's a fire coming and there's a little bit of leaf builds up over the next week or something, we can just run through. So, but look, we're not in danger. We have cattle paddocks next to us that have been slashed recently. We have bush next door though, that's a bit of a worry, but if fire gets in there, the bloke next door, he's got a driveway that's bare as a badger's bum, and so yeah, I think it's a good line to stop it there. So up that same boundary, I've put a fire break in up our boundary, just to slow things up that extra bit again. So yeah, that's what that's what I ended up doing yesterday afternoon, was fire breaks, and I watered the trees. I got another pump out of the dam, and God, bloody Kelly dog thought it was hot yesterday. She'd go in the dam. Well, she sails down the bank, and the first part of getting into the dam is just mud. It's bloody sloppy shit. And so yeah, she went in, and she went out probably 6-8 feet, and she could have a swim. So that's encouraging for me. Where my foot valve is, the float's sitting out a little bit further than it was, so I believe the foot valve's sitting there, but I'm getting a really nice clean sample of water, so I'm hoping it's just sitting on some leaf or some reeds or something like that, and that's where my clean water sample's coming. So but yeah, old Kelly dog went for a swim, and she come back out all bloody proud of herself. Well, the mud, she had mud from one end to the other, and I looked at her and I thought, God, what am I going to do with you? But anyway, before it baked on her, I got her out the back here, and Kelly dog had a bath with the garden hose. Yeah, I put her on. She didn't mind. Yeah, she thought it was pretty good. But yeah, poor old Kelly dog. Yeah, she's used to just racing up the driveway. If I got the tractor around, she follows the tractor up and back, and she's used to just racing up, diving off the edge into the water and coming back. But lately she's had to go down the bank, and I haven't seen her go for a swim for a little while, but you know, a few weeks worth. But yesterday she went in, and I was there, and I thought, holy shit, I hope she doesn't get stuck. And but yeah, no, she got out, no worries at all. So another little thing of interest. This is the Multipayer hose, and this goes from your Multipayer pump to the. It comes up the front, goes through the housing, the bulkhead, to go to the control valve, and this was buggered. So I thought, oh well, I'll buy one of them. And I had thought about I could turn these collars off and then put those reusable hydraulic ends on and make it. Then I thought, oh look, just buy the bloody thing. So one of those is in Australia, $250 for that little jigger. So anyway, look, I've got it coming. I want it done properly. That must have been damaged at some stage, like the the braid in there is quite rusty. So I'd say, oh look, it's hard for you to see that, but the braid's quite rusty. So that's coming, and when they pulled the Multipayer out, they took the spring out. So I've ordered the spring, and I'm just waiting on parts. Yeah, I can clean the housing up today, but yeah, this week I'm hoping that the parts turn up for the Multipayer gearbox, so I can get back into putting that together. And yeah, I sort of don't want this apart too long. In the wind yesterday, I did get a chance to muck around with putting an alternator on the 1356 6-speed, and both tractors are going to have an alternator. It's a Bearco B8800 alternator. I bought 2 brackets in from AgriLine to have a look at them, and because I started making a bracket, and we're allowed to weld inside, but we've got a fibre, we're not allowed to have a grinder outside or anything at the moment. So anyway, I saw these AgriLine brackets and I thought, well, I'll get a couple. You know, I had other parts coming, I didn't just send for them. So I got a couple of them over, so I've got them sitting on, and I've worked out a line to run across and all that sort of thing. So I might take you over and just show you that. It's not worth a whole video, I don't think, on fitting the alternator, but I made a couple of spaces up and I've run a line down through, and you know, I've got a straight edge from the front pulley out, and you know, you measure across from the belt. The water pumps back about 1 or 2 millimeters, I reckon. But look, it's not worth buggering around with, you know, putting a puller on and bringing it back for that, you know, a couple of millimeters. That's just not worth it. Pardon me. So yeah, it's been a busy week. Yeah, last week I think we got 3 videos out last week on the Multipayer. I've still got the kingpins and all to do on the 6-speed. It's just I got to decide on some of those jobs whether I just hook in and do them and not film it because I can't, because of the conditions at the moment, or what happens. But I don't know if you can just hear in the background, you can hear a bit of a squeak now and then. That's the wind starting to rattle the doors and things like that. I haven't got the end door up the other end open, and I think it must be moving in the track a little bit. So, but anyway, look, not a lot. Oh well, there's a lot going on, but not a lot I can film. Dave come in, Dave-O, that's commented on all my videos for years. He come into the shop the other day for a yarn and say g'day, so that was good. Good to see you, Dave. Well, good to meet you anyway, yeah. And he's moved in locally now, and so yeah, we'll see what we get up to there. We're thinking of Facebook stuff and all that. So the new website's been going well. It hasn't been out there a month yet, and it's beat what we've put out in the past with our old website. So that's a good thing. Nicole that works for us, young Nick, she had her first tractor trek last year sometime, so she's been hunting around for a Fergie 35X, and I thought she'd gone cold on the idea a bit. And well, bugger me, last weekend she comes in with photos. Look what I bought on the weekend. So she's bought a 35X. And look, it's a tidy little tractor. Yeah, it looks good, and it's got a field equipped slasher on it and all that sort of thing. So yeah, so it's a lovely little tractor. Nick's dad has been a friend of mine for years, playing with Fergies and things like that. So yeah, he was all excited. A nice little 35X she found. So yeah, I suppose she works for us, so she'll get the parts at the right price. But it doesn't look like it needs a lot. One of the radius rods is bent a little bit, but so I suspect the front axle bush is dicky, or it has been dicky at some stage in its life. So that's good. She's excited, and which is a great thing. And it's good when your staff are interested in tractors and interested in the whole setup sort of thing. Yeah. So, but look, that's about it for this week. I might take you over and just show you what I've been doing with the alternator on the 1356 speed, and apart from that, have a good week everyone, and we'll catch you next week. Well, this is the bracket that we're working on at the moment, and This is the agri-line bracket. They've got square ends there. I'm not happy with that. I'm going to radius them so there's no sharp edges. But what we've done, you'll see a heap of washers up here and there's nothing there. It's just hanging there for the moment. But what we do, we run a straight edge across the pulley on the crank pulley. That's your main drive. And then I'll bring this microphone over a little bit further. And then we run a line, bring that line up and check. And you have to actually watch out because the web on the crankshaft pulley is quite a bit larger than the web on the alternator pulley. So that's why we actually just run up and we measure the belt. So we've got that pretty well nice and straight now. So where these washers are there, we've gone and made some spacers, and we've made a spacer for the back end there now. Now we have our measurements, it'll all come off, and we have a spacer for there. We've made a nice fat washer for the bracket down underneath here. We've made another little washer for sitting over the bracket just to give it a bit of support, and we've made a washer to sit up in here. So I've got the lathe set up there, so if we do need to muck ass around with this a bit more, we can. But I've made 2 sets of these, so and I like these Bosch style alternators. This is an alternator that it's in a Bearco kit, and it's only got the one lug on it, and I just prefer to have it supported front and back. I reckon it's a stronger thing if you're going to do what we're doing with it. So yeah, there's believe it or not, there's just a lot of fiddling there. Where this bolts into the timing cover here, we're going to put some nice big flat washers there just to support the bracket better over the holes. And we'll probably, now we know that that's nice and true, it's not kinked anyway, and everything's lining up, the belt's lining up okay. That's not all bolted up. Well, the bottom bracket's not, but these are as true as they're going to be. And once we put these spacers in, and we know that's right, we'll just take one out at a time, and then we'll replace the bolts, Loctite them in, and put a flat washer to share the load, so to spread the load of the bolt head there. So look, that's not a bad thing. It's coming up okay. Well, it's coming up good. A few people sort of say, oh well, you know, you need to leave it original. I've got a bloody microphone wire there swinging around. They say, oh yeah, it's not original. Well, yeah, I don't care. This tractor will be road registered as well. It won't go as fast as a trekking tractor, and that's fine. We don't want it to. But yeah, if we want to go somewhere and we're running lights and flashing lights and all that, this is just a far more reliable, modern way to do something. I do have tractors where I set generators up and the regulators and all that, but this is just 2 wires coming in the back, and you've got a great charging system. The standard charging system's about, I think I worked out 11 amps. 11 amps, and this alternator is a 70 amp alternator straight up. So yeah, it's just something I decided I'd do to my tractors. That's the same alternator there that I have on the John Deere 420, which didn't have an alternator either. They were 6 volt. And the Gold tractor, little Goldie, it's got one on it as well. And yeah, look, that's just how I choose to do it. If I have a TE20 that we play with it. It's going back 6 volt, so it'll have all the original stuff, but I think there's a time and place, and I don't mind or don't apologise for doing it. I reckon it's just something I'm choosing to do to my tractors because I want to use them, not park them up in the shed and look at them. So there you go. And if you have a look here, I've taken the John Deere tractor out of the stable over there. Years ago we used to put sunpoil around the post to stop the white ants, so that'll probably go up like a bloody cracker when she goes. But yeah, look, we've just run a little bank through here, and that's where the shed is there. And yeah, I've cleaned up a bit, but I am going to actually make that nice and straight and wider, so some of these little trees here will come out. Then I'll try and keep the camera a bit still. And where we have our main tank over here, it's a little bit rough here at the moment, but that's alright. I'll tidy it up when I feel like I've got a little bit more time. Now, the wet there looks like a bit of dew come off, but what happened yesterday, I pumped our tank, and what I was worried about was the bit of leaf litter here and the polythene pipes. They'll burn like anything, so we've put a run in through here, and the water from the tank overflowing, it overflows out the top there. It run down here by the looks, so that's okay, nice and damp there, but I've got a bit of a shit fight in there, but that's okay too. And actually that wet, when it was blowing its ass off yesterday, that's when I filled the tank up. So, and I've got a little run through the bush there and along the back fence, so yeah, a bit messy, but yeah, I'm gonna, it was sort of a quick thing. I thought, oh geez, I just need a little line that I can work on, so I'll bring the blade over further later on, and we'll tidy it up a little bit, get it a bit more respectable. When it ever rains and all that, I'll have to smooth it all out to do the mowing again. So yeah, a few fire breaks went in, and then I've got the tractors that were in the old loader that was in the paddock here, and I've got the slasher off the whole show. But I'll walk around the front here. There's the collie, and this little T20 probably should go up the front, but I've kept the grass nice and short down here, and then we should be able to zoom in. There we go, and there's the John Deere with the blade on the back, the 2030, and the Ford 3550 front end loader. The loader would be good for fire breaks, but the bucket's too bloody narrow. But the paddock's pretty bare, so yeah, I think we'll be alright. So it's just a little bit of prep. I had time to do the prep, and it was blowing its ass off, and the fires they've gone from like 50 kilometres away to 20 kilometres away, so I thought I'd better do something. So there you go.